Prebiotics are specific types of fiber that feed those bacteria. Not all fiber are prebiotics, but nevertheless, prebiotics are the food that help to grow and foster the function of the bacteria. So probiotics are the organisms, prebiotics are their food. Regarding food sources of prebiotics, fruits, vegetables, dairy, grains, beans, legumes, and nuts. Again, there is no consensus regarding what the optimal intake is. However, I did find a 2023 randomized control trial interesting. They administered 7 servings per day of prebiotic-rich foods, and they found improvements in mood, anxiety, stress, and sleep. So this then follows that 7 servings per day of prebiotic-rich foods is probably a good target. So if you're having 3 meals per day, this would be 2 to 3 servings per meal. And conversely, a total dietary fiber intake of 25 to 30 grams is a good aim. Here's a list of high fiber versus low fiber fruits and vegetables. And what you could do is take stock of what you're eating and try to incorporate more of the higher fiber and a bit less of the lower fiber. It's not to say you should avoid lower fiber, but this is one sort of tweak toward optimization you can consider. So higher fiber fruits would be blueberries, avocado, apple, raspberries, pomegranate, and kiwi. Low fiber fruits, oranges, strawberries, watermelon, banana, mango, cantaloupe, and peaches. And then coming over to high fiber vegetables, artichoke, turnip, green peas, sweet potatoes, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and collard greens, whereas lower fiber would be iceberg lettuce, mushrooms, bell peppers, cucumber, celery, zucchini, and tomatoes. And again, it's not to say that you should be avoiding the lower fiber, but make a note of the higher fiber and try to incorporate some of these. And if you really wanted to go all the way, you could count out what you're getting in a day and try to obtain 25 to 30 grams of dietary fiber. Alrighty, so then we come to the very important usage guidelines. There's a few caveats here. As a clinician, I can tell you that early in my career, I thought whatever the diet or the intervention was, early phase, I was jazzed about and I thought was going to help everybody. The paleo diet, low carb, probiotics, prebiotic supplementation, glutathione. And then with time, you see that virtually any intervention will help some people, not help others, and even flare some. So because of that, here is a framework. High fiber can be helpful for some. It will aggravate those with sensitive digestion. So you just want to be aware of that. The main types of prebiotics are inulin, resistant starches, what's known as FOS or GOS, so fructo oligosaccharides or galacto oligosaccharides, and then finally, partially hydrolyzed guar gum. And most formulas will contain some combination of these, and I think that's probably the best way to utilize these because in foods, you will often have a diverse array of prebiotics and not necessarily just one. Regarding dosages, there is an important clarification for prebiotics specifically. Most research has used between 5 to 15 grams per day. However, a 2013 review paper found that in those who have otherwise sensitive digestion, a dose of 3 to 5 grams per day was both effective, helpful, but also was not enough, a high enough dose to trigger symptoms. So this, I think, is important to bear in mind if you're someone who historically has noticed if you don't eat the right way, let's say, or you're under stress, you may notice you get backed up or you have bloating, abdominal pain, diarrhea, or reflux. I wouldn't jump right into something like 10 or 15 grams per day of prebiotics. If anything, I would start at 3 to 5, reevaluate, and then slowly ramp up over time. More is not always better, but those are some guidelines to navigate the use of prebiotics. And there's a few formulas here that I'll share with you in brief regarding supplemental prebiotics. Biota Boost is the formula we use in the clinic, and a 4 capsule serving gives you 3 grams. Conversely, Garden of Life has a organic fiber supplement. 2 scoops gives you 10 grams. So now we're getting a little bit higher. And this company, Hyperbiotics, has a prebiotic formula called Hyperbiotic Vegan Prebiotic. 2 scoops gives you 14 grams. So any of these would be suitable. Again, if you've noticed your gut is a bit reactive, I would start with the 3 to 5 grams and then reevaluate, potentially building up to a higher dose. There can be a little bit of gas and flatulence that's transient when starting on or increasing your dose of prebiotics, so that's important to bear in mind. And as long as you're not noticing pain, fatigue, and the only thing is really just blowing some wind, then it's probably your microbiota adjusting. Give that a few days to a week, and if that subsides, great. If it continues, or you start noticing other negative reactions like abdominal pain, discomfort, reflux, fatigue, that's telling you to back off.